Hi, I'm Matt from World of Ukes, the North of England's specialist ukulele store and editor of Uke magazine. I'm looking today at 5 common ukulele buying mistakes and how to avoid them. Now these are mistakes that might apply to somebody buying the ukulele for the first time, or somebody who's looking to expand their collection or upgrade their existing instrument. And it's not me telling you what to do. I don't want to tell you what to buy and where you buy it. It's more a collection of mistakes that have been reported back to me by customers over the years, things that they wish they'd thought about before they bought a ukulele. So let's get on with mistake number 1. One mistake people often make is buying their ukulele from somewhere that doesn't check, inspect and set up the instrument before it gets to you. The ukulele, when it arrives, the same model in different stores, will be very similar, but what happens between your order and the ukulele arriving with you can be quite important. That setup can involve lowering the action, the height of the strings above the fingerboard, and especially down here at the nut too. When you're pushing down, you don't want those grooves to be too high, making you have to push down with too much pressure. Now, whether you are someone who's never set up an instrument before, you haven't got a clue, or whether you are adept at it, if you're paying plenty of money for a ukulele, you want the place you're buying from to carry out those checks and adjustments so that when you get it, it's ready to tune up and play and it's nice and comfortable. So to avoid somewhere that won't do that, you can steer clear of the big box retailers like Amazon, who will pop your ukulele in a box and send it out, and it will never be seen by a pair of human eyes. And you can look when you're buying from somewhere whether that ukulele is actually in stock or whether it's drop shipped. It can often be in the small print, you'll find something saying that it's in stock with our distributor, and you place the order with that shop, but they don't actually get it to that store. They just ask the distributor to send it directly to you. Now you can, in both of these cases, you can hit lucky and you can get something that's perfectly playable right out of the box, but it always pays, I think, to, even if there's a slight price difference, to get it from a ukulele specialist. Now, World of Ukes, that would be one place in Europe, and Southern Ukulele Store, also based here in the UK. You know, that's a couple of examples of places which will look into your instrument with great care and attention and get it to you in great condition. In America, Mims Ukes, Uke Republic, there are lots more ukulele specialists. I'm not going to reel them all off, but have a look at where you're buying it from and check that they actually inspect and set up your instrument so that it's ready to play when you've got it. Another mistake people can make is spending the wrong amount. Now, there are two schools of thought here, and I think they both have some merit. You can either get something that's relatively inexpensive but is of a nice quality, so it's not going to put you off, or you can go pretty much all out and spend as much as you can afford right at the beginning. The first of those scenarios, I think, as a rough guide, something between £80 and £150, especially if it's your first ukulele, that's a good marker to go for. Something that is, I would call a serious beginner instrument, something with no quality issues that are going to put you off, something that's relatively comfortable to play so that you're going to get to grips with it and not say, oh, I just don't like doing this. That's false economy if you're going to go for something really cheap, because they can sound unpleasant, they can have issues like sharp frets, because those instruments have been pushed out of the factory to meet a really low price level. You could end up buying that instrument and thinking, this isn't for me. You haven't really given yourself the chance to find out if you enjoy it because the tools that you're using aren't good enough. So something that's of a serious beginner level, bought from a specialist store, I think is giving you a good chance to find out if you're going to like the instrument or not. And the other school of thought, that you just go for as good a ukulele as you can afford, that's also good, because you then hopefully won't need to keep upgrading later on. If you bought something that was £100, you got to grips with it, you thought, I absolutely love this, you might then find yourself buying something for £300 and then do the same again and buy something for £600. So if you went for that £600 one like this Miller here straight away, if you can afford it, then that's also a good way of thinking about it. As ukuleles get more expensive, they don't get more difficult to play. Yes, it's true, a really nice instrument is only going to sound at its best when your skills are better, you know, but certainly no harm in having a nice one right from the beginning. Another mistake people can make is buying purely with the eye. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying a ukulele that is pretty. There's everything to be said for getting something that looks good to you so that you want to pick it up and practice more often. But buying purely with the eye, so it's only on what it looks like, where you kind of discard the more important factors of how it plays, how it feels in your hands and how it sounds, can end up leaving you further down the line with a ukulele you don't pick up but you still like looking at it. So an example would be these two instruments. They are both laminate instruments. This one, as you can see, a rather plain looking mahogany, and this one has very nice, pretty, interesting laminate ebony. But the key word there was laminate. They're both laminate instruments, so the look of the wood is actually doing nothing for the sound. Now, in this case, you know, there may be other factors at play that make one sound better than the other, but if you were to look at those two and think, I definitely want that one because it looks so pretty, then actually that wouldn't be the only factor you need to consider. This one is going to cost you a lot more than that one. So buying purely with the eye is something to avoid. Yes, get something that looks nice. Yes, get something that appeals to you. You'll want to pick it up, but consider those other factors as well. If it doesn't sound nice, are you going to play it? The fourth mistake to look at is how many ukuleles to buy. Now, if you've got your first instrument, a serious beginner instrument, you bought it from a specialist ukulele store who've set it up nicely, you've spent a reasonable amount and you've got a bit of spare money and you like the look of it, but it also sounds nice. So you've avoided the mistakes we've covered so far. You might then fall in love with the ukulele and want to try lots of other different models. This is quite a common thing that I've seen before. Somebody gets the bug and then they want this one, they want that one. Oh, isn't that one gorgeous? I need an 8-string, I need a 6-string, and it can quickly spiral out of control. So how many ukuleles to buy? Don't let me tell you not to buy them. You know, that would be silly for me with my World of Uke store, but I would pause and consider whether you really need it, whether you're actually going to play it. I've done this many times myself. I get tempted and I think, you know, I think I need a 6-string in my life, and then I sit down and think, do I have this time to play this? Am I actually going to get my money's worth? So maybe pause before you expand your collection to think, do I really need that ukulele? An example of how this has happened and gone wrong for someone, if you ask me, would be with my instrument here, which is a Uluru with a my-side pickup. Very nice instrument, I've had it for years. And I was in the store once and a customer came in and he said, oh, what do you play? And I said, I play this Uluru Lehua 3CX. And he said, how much is that? I explained how much it was, and he said, I would never buy one of that value. You know, that's ridiculous, crazy money to spend on a ukulele. I asked what he had, and then he reeled off about 15 different instruments. You know, lots of them were different laminate instruments, so they were the same brand, the same sound, the same model, virtually, apart from the look of the wood. So they really having, if you shut your eyes, you wouldn't know whether you were playing one or the other. So he had, in the end, spent lots more money than I had, but I have the nicest ukulele of all of them. So you can get sucked into wanting lots of different ones. So just pause, think, do I really need it? And, you know, stick with one for a while until you really find out what you like about that ukulele, and maybe look for that aspect in a different uke and expand your collection then when you've got a bit more experience under your belt. final mistake to cover is ignoring the significance that different string types can have on an instrument. I've known people in the past get a ukulele and they get it home and they find they're a little underwhelmed. Now, occasionally someone might send it back, which is their right to do so, but often what people will do is put it to one side and not really play it much. And then a couple of years down the line they might try and move it on without ever really experiencing what that instrument could do for them if it had the right strings on. Now, my instrument here, the Ukulele that I mentioned, when they come from the factory, the strings that are on don't appeal to me. I don't like the feel of them, and I really don't think that they get the best out of the instrument. So I have changed my strings to some clear fluorocarbons, Nui clear waters at the moment, but I find the clear fluorocarbon strings really make this instrument ring where the stock strings didn't. Now, that can apply to all sorts of different ukuleles. If you've got one that's in your arsenal which you're not that bothered about, try some different strings on it, because it could give it a new lease of life. If you bought an instrument a year ago and you never really pick it up, try a different set of strings, it could bring it to life. You know, in this case, you know, I changed the strings straight away because I knew what I was looking for, I knew the sound I wanted to achieve. But if you don't, putting a different set of strings on is probably better than having, you know, a £500 instrument that's just sitting in the corner that you never play. So that was 5 ukulele buying mistakes and some tips on how to avoid them. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the World of Ukes channel, where you'll find nearly 400 other ukulele videos to get through. Thanks for watching, and I hope it's been of some use.
worldofukes.co.uk worldofukes.co.uk